This conference will now be recorded.
I'm ready. Okay. Welcome to the 6:15 start of our first public hearing regarding Madison Valley Tradesman conditional use permit submitted by Madison Valley Tradesman. Hi. For single-family residence on Block 1, Lot 2, Beaverhead Estates within the incorporated area of the town of Ennis in Madison County. Staff report.
Okay, so I'll just do one staff report. They're basically the same, other than one's on lot 2, one's on lot 3. They're both single-family dwellings. They're surrounded on 3 sides by other dwellings. The only reason that they have to do a conditional use is because they're zoned LCR, and it's a conditional use for single or multifamily dwellings. And, yes. In our zoning. So they meet all the setbacks. Most of the LCR doesn't apply to a single family dwelling as far as the parks and the trails. They don't have to do any of that. The paved parking, they don't have to do any of that. They have to have 2 standard parking, which they do. And the water and sewer infrastructure will go through the town of Ennis. I did check with Eric. We do have the water to allow 2 more connections. They do have to do the site and the landscaping, which it's in your packet. The trash enclosure, pardon me? Nope, they don't. Nope. The trash enclosures doesn't apply for residential district. Any fencing or any signs that they do have to put up, they'll have to go through any type of permitting, just like anyone else. We will have to do a T&D agreement, which I have started. It's not completed, but that's pretty much it for my report. If it wasn't in the LCR, it's something that I would have permitted without any question. It just falls in that district. So it has to come before you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Now you guys get to say your part, and then we'll take public comment. Yeah. You have to go up to the microphone or else the people online don't get to hear ya. He's like, no, I do not want to.
So it's just 2 single-family homes being funded by a gal out of Iowa. Yes.
Will you please state your name?
I am Logan Kugler with Madison Valley Tradesmen, and we are the general contractor for the 2 houses that the gal would like to build. And we're here representing her since she's obviously 5 states away. Is there anything else other than their single-family homes? Questions? No? Okay.
All right, now I'll open the floor to public comment. Second call for public comment. Don't think they're here for that. Anything from online for public comment regarding the Madison Valley Tradesman conditional use, both lot 2 and 3. Seeing no other public comment, I'll close public comment and move on to commission.
So basically, I guess in the report it said, I think you guys claimed that it was going to be affordable housing, and I think it also stated that in Susie's report as well. I think she was kind of following suit, but Tony Treglia was in here last meeting, and we talked about what constitutes affordability. So the federal government's typical definition of defines housing as affordable when it consumes no more than 30% of a household's income. And I'm just throwing that out there. I mean, there's been a handful of people that have come in here and claimed that things are affordable. And I think it's something we all need to be concerned about in the community is what is affordable housing. And that basically the median income here in Ennis, according to our last preliminary engineering report, said it was $46,000. And that comes to $1,150 per month in payments. So that's my input on that. I guess I'd spoken with Susie earlier today about our current water crisis that we're kind of in right now. I don't know if everybody's familiar with that, but we're not quite up to par on the amount of water we're supposed to have as a municipality. So I would ask that you guys, well, this might be later on in the discussion, but one thing I would like you guys to consider would be your landscape plan, what you utilize, if you were to utilize like just traditional, turn the property back to the way it was, basically just sagebrush and drought tolerant items. Obviously, I personally think you can make that look good, and maybe just run some drip lines to some trees and shrubs. So.
Any other commission comment?
As long as we have the water to support it, I don't see a problem with it.
Eric, do we have the water to support it?
For two. But let me just elaborate a little bit.
When we have discussions, so we can. I know.
We do, but let me just elaborate a little bit. Like, we're getting there very close. DEQ considers this town and charges per connection 1,200 residents. That's our capacity right there. That's where we're at right now. More and more, how many houses we got going in this year?
We're about there.
20, 40? That's 20, 40 lawns. I spent all summer long watching both our pumps run non-stop. Now we have 20, 30 more lawns, people. It's getting to a point where we have to do something. And I'm stressing that because I'm the one that stresses over it. Loses sleep all night. Is it going to work tonight, or is it today to the day? Pumps have been in that ground a year now.
We don't have a backup pump.
We
yet.
don't have a backup yet because they're that far out. That's where we're at.
Sounds to me like, as far as the residences go, they fit with the surroundings. It's just that it may be premature.
I don't think two houses really is like two houses, single family. That's not really going to be the big thing, you know, but we're there, you know, that's how it is.
And how many
We're there.
applications are coming
We
through
have
that
no,
don't
let me just say, you're giving me no buffer. Like, you're putting me right up to that number, which I feel is not correct. Because the gallons, the whole, and the population, I don't think is right from that report. You know, there's got to be more than 917 people in this town now. Has to be.
And Susie, how many permits come in that we don't have to offer? Like, hold on.
On my, staff report for this month, I have, there too. An addition garage on Bugle Street, 3 spec homes in North 40. I have another triplex coming. Here's
Condos.
the condos have already been approved.
Right.
And the ones in 4050, technically the water's already been said is okay, but still very questionable.
The 40, North 40 or
North
40?
40. North 40.
North 40.
But what's not being, is that happening? So that North 40's already been okay.
Right.
Right. We're not adding those people yet to those numbers we have. We're adding them as we go. And we should legitimately add those in right now, because it's already been okay. That's how it is. So that, those houses being considered, you should add those into that numbers.
In your opinion, how soon do we need to look at doing more of our,
Lots deeper.
okay,
In my opinion,
okay.
that's
That's your
my
opinion.
personal opinion.
Let's stay with this point of order. There's a work session after the Madison Boots on the 23rd that's just the water. So that's the time to resolve it, not in the middle of a conditional use. All right, so any other comment on the conditional use?
The only thing that was brought to my attention today, because I did go up just recently tonight to go see, you are completely surrounded by residential homes. My question that was brought to me or posed to me was, you're going from a potential commercial, low density commercial. Would you be losing value?
I don't know if she feels that way. She bought them from McMullen and Croy with the mindset that she would build duplexes and not commercial there. And she just fell with the way costs of everything are is, you know, a kitchen, separate system on each house. It was cheaper to go with a single family home on each one of those lots.
Okay. Because we did have that meeting last month. Do you know who she plans to market it to?
I think she's trying to find the niche below your Pronghorn and Skyview price point homes.
Okay.
We did 2 last year for her in the Pronghorn development, and she is looking at a much smaller investment and much lower sales point based on her conversations with Jenny Borbeck, is who she works with.
Okay.
So, and as far as it being commercial, she doesn't feel that it's in an area that commercial would benefit from. It doesn't have the highway access, being that it's a block in.
Yeah.
And obviously has residential surrounding.
Completely surrounding it, yeah.
Right.
It's like the last 2 lots in that little area that are undeveloped on.
Yeah.
So it does. Yeah, I saw you guys' trucks and trailers there, so I'm like, okay.
Right.
I guess that was, and I do agree with you about the concern about our water. And I also agree with you that we should be looking at our zoning for maybe redoing landscaping. That'll be something that the planning board might want to look into. But yeah, that's all my questions.
I move to approve the Madison Valley Tradesman conditional use permit for single-family residence on Block 1, Lot 2, Beaverhead Estates.
I second that.
There's actually 2 separate conditional uses.
Yep.
Are you doing one at a time?
Yes.
Oh.
I mean, they're replicates, but we can just say any other additions. So, calling the vote right off the bat.
Aye.
Okay. Congratulations.
One down.
One down. So as they are identical, I will offer it to public comment so that we're not skipping any of the steps. So is there any public comment on lot 3, which is an identical proposed project?
There's already curbing and sidewalk in that neighborhood. I don't know why we would skip 2 houses.
Susie?
That could be a condition. It's not in my staff report, but you can make it a condition.
Do you have any major objections to that?
To doing what, curve?
Yeah, is it connected? I didn't.
There's nothing
Where,
else connected.
where would we have to, I guess, stop? Since I don't believe McMullen's duplex has any of it on the north facing or on our west facing side that we would be on. I know Conrad Mitchell had extended sidewalk down around all of his builds off the driveways.
So where are we?
We're off of
Madison Beaverhead.
Madison Beaverhead.
Yeah. So
There's not any on the other 3.
On the east side of Madison is all sidewalk. Down to,
I don't believe there's anything on the corner.
East side or west side?
on the corner now.
right,
East side.
so McMullen's green duplex is on the corner and he doesn't have concrete on any of his, but where Conrad Mitchell and they're trying to build 3 or 4 homes, they have sidewalk and curbing coming down to where our first property pin is.
It's because it's TND, isn't it?
So I guess where would we be expected to stop that concrete?
It's because it's in TND. Well, I guess that's up to you guys. All right. Last call for public comment. Commission.
So are you guys, I guess, opposed to putting that in, or?
We would just like to know how far we would be expected to take it. I mean, if we just have to do the front of her property, that's fine, but if we're expected to go clear to the corner.
Nope, just in front of the property.
The only thing I would say is if I got concrete going from where Larry and Conrad left off, a house on the corner, so we're in between the 2. So we're in the zone with the guy on the corner of Madison and Beaverhead. If we have to forfeit all that money through the project to make it, if she has to spend that much more money, it's gonna make a higher price point for people to buy the place. If we have whoever connected on in front of the other one, going all the way to the corner, because it's kind of useless if you go from dirt ramp up to the sidewalk, it's just a big waste of money unless you make everybody do it.
Right, yeah, McMullen and Gary should continue it on around their duplex to finish it if we need to do our portion.
There's not really a sense in starting a sidewalk in the middle of the street versus if you take it all the way to a corner. So that's where the only part where I'm opposed, because if we're trying to make it as affordable as we can, and we're pumping in the sidewalk and everything else, that's another 8-10 grand. So I guess it's up to you guys. Yeah.
Right.
And we've seen plenty of, we've paved roads just so that we can dig them all up, and sidewalks, and it's been a lovely little chaos.
Do you guys?
I don't know how we can retroactively go back and force McMullen's to do it though, because it was already approved. I don't know.
Go through it, do it all, pass something else, it's like do it at the end of all the projects. If you pave the whole street, then, okay, we're gonna pave it, so how about everyone put in their sidewalks, then pave it and do it right instead of tearing stuff up and get, makes it look like crap at the end. That's my biggest outlook on it, so I'd be able to do it.
They just have to adjacent lots.
If it's adjacent lots, there's no concrete across the street. There's a select few down the corner of Beaverhead that have a couple sidewalks in front of them.
Can we make it a condition to give it a decision at a later point?
What?
Can we make it a condition that it needs to be done like when the road gets paved? Can we make a condition like that?
That was a good question.
If it was projected out that long.
But yeah, I was
If
like,
if she has to present that to a
Don't
potential buyer
bother.
that, hey, you're gonna be blindsided with additional costs if the road never paved.
I think the paving roads is very,
But I do believe you could, if the roads were paved, we might be able to ask that the McMullins also, at that later date, be forced to do it as well.
Sure, but the
I-
gallery
yeah.
patrolness won't have any involvement if someone
Yeah.
buys
Buys
them
it.
for
Yeah.
and then they're stuck holding the short
and if
end.
at this point we're like trying to, my opinion on it, if we're trying to be responsible about the affordability,
Takes it out of play.
I feel like a sidewalk at this point is a little bit more of a luxury
It is,
than a necessity.
I agree, especially with it being a dirt road.
Right, and I mean, concrete went up, I think, at least minimum $10 since the beginning of the year, so, and steel's through the roof, so it's not an affordable
What do you think?
sidewalk.
80% of people in this community can't hardly afford to buy a house that's 10 to 15 years old. It's like we try to pump the price as low as we can, get it out as fast as we can. Still, it's like whoever even works in this town can't afford to buy a new house unless you're a lawyer or a doctor. It's just, everybody's at their wit's end, they don't even have their own home in this place. So, you know, I mean, it doesn't matter to me either way, because we just charge her and then she up her price to everybody else. That's how it works.
You guys call.
What do you two down there think?
I don't think it really matters.
I don't think the sidewalk is necessary. Like I said, dirt road. You saw the driveway that's paved or concrete from the house down to the.
It'll have concrete apron in front of it, but then there'll be gravel portion from that apron to the gravel road itself.
Which makes sense.
Can I ask a quick question?
It's commission comment.
It's
What-
commission.
What's the cup requirement?
Yeah. I called for 3.
If we're on commission comment, public comment has already passed.
Just make sure you're being consistent.
All right.
I don't have the little document in front of me.
Oh, hold on.
Okay. Thank you, Tori. I would like to approve the single-family residence on Block 1, Lot 3, Beaverhead Estates, for the Madison Valley Tradesman conditional use permit.
I second that.
Why?
Well, you should adopt the staff report to go with
Oh,
Findings of fact.
That, okay. You're right.
yes, you were correct. With the findings of fact presented to us by Susie.
As
Staff report.
All right. Any other? Are we good?
Aye.
I
Motion carries.
Congratulations, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for working with us.
Yeah.
them finish up.
You guys.
All right, I'd like to officially open the meeting of March 9th. Roll call of the council. Our first roll call for Craig. You're here.
Here.
Tina.
Here,
And Corey's.
Aye.
All right, we're done. Please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, next is the approval of the minutes of February 9th meeting.
I move to approve minutes of February 9th meeting.
I second that.
Any corrections or additions? All right, calling the vote on it. Anybody else have any? No.
I abstain.
Thank you. All right, February 16th though, where are we at, Ginger? Those we're gonna table.
So Nikki, do, if you desire, we can probably have it ready for the 23rd.
Okay. We'll get those. I get ahead of myself, and Ginger spent some quality time struggling through our online for that one, and you can it's not great recording, so we're gonna table this if you're okay with that. Make a motion to table, as they're not done, so it's hard to approve them.
I make a motion to table. Were we both talking at the same time? The minutes from the February 16th meeting.
Nikki, are you saying it?
yes.
Okay. Any objections? All right. Where was I?
Brandy.
Aye.
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 All right, moving on to item number 6, which is public comment on non-agenda items. If you have a comment on a non-agenda item, please come to the microphone and state your name for the record. Second call for public comment on non-agenda items. Call for public comment on non-agenda items. Seeing no comment, we're closing that and moving on to number 7, which is unfinished business, which is the planning board formation. I need 2 of you to just take this and run with it. I'll give you the contact list, everything else, but I'm juggling one too many things. So contacting them is getting it's heavier on my list right now.
Okay.
Craig's already there, so.
I don't mind helping Craig.
Okay, you 2, and I will give you my contact list of everybody that sent interest letters
Sounds good.
and go from there.
I've
And
got
then-
them anyway, so.
Perfect. Does that work for you guys?
Sure.
And then I will make arrangements for Forrest to do a training, but he's at legislative session right now, so we'll give him a little bit of a breather before we do training.
All
Sound
I'm
good?
having to do is get the planning board set up, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And get us rolling, okay? So we can have so much fun with these conditional uses. And then growth policy. And then zoning. Okay, all right, so that's my new plan, because, yeah. Maybe if I hand it off, it'll get farther than where I was getting with it. Okay. So I will send you both a spreadsheet that I have of everybody's contact information. Okay?
And how many members do we have right now?
I'll send you the list and you can confirm with who's still on board and who's not.
I need that.
Okay? All right. Next is our first scheduled matter, which is the nomination appointment of town council chair. So, in the event that I am not here, or I actually get to go on vacation someday, one of these lovely candidates that they will nominate amongst themselves will fill in for me. So this person will also be added to the sign card. So if I get hit by a bus, everybody else still gets paid, which is important. Probably keep the lights on. What else? But that's basically it. It's extra duty is run a meeting if I'm not here, sign checks if I'm not here. So that's where that's at. Public comment. Once? Oh, thanks. I haven't missed a meeting yet. Woohoo! Second call and last call. Public comment. All right. Now you get to open the floor for nominations. Well, ladies, you didn't really object to it.
I nominate.
Commissioner Hardy.
I second.
I third that. Most experience.
He's like, Commissioner Hardy, do you have any objections to your nomination?
I'm all on board.
Okay, so you have not.
Seconded that.
Are there any comments on the nomination of Corey? Commissioner
He'll
Hardy.
do great.
You need help, I'll help you out. To the best of my
I would like a what do you call that? A laminated cheat sheet that just lays out like order of operations, if that's possible.
It's a little book like this that you get from Junior. It's called Robert's Rules of Orders. And
I have
as
a
you can
copy.
tell, I'm not super proficient.
I have a copy, it's with my book.
All right. Any other?
It says town of Ennis on it.
I won't like bombard you the night before unless I really am dying. So with no other comment, I'll put it to the vote. You don't get a vote first because it's just because.
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Okay, well, still, you're in.
Thank you, Corey.
Thank you, Corey. So you will have to get with Ginger, right? And she'll make arrangements at the bank for you to be added to the signature card. Yes.
Can I sign this?
Okay. Where am I? Okay. Last item under regular scheduled. Whoa. Who didn't catch that I don't know my alphabet? ABB. So that's very comforting.
Yeah.
Where was my proofreading that day? All right. So the next item of business is the review of the Lions Club proposal to create a dog park at Lions Club Park with the discussion and vote. So I will lead it to whoever would like to present this to the council.
Good evening, everyone. My name's Mike Delaney.
Uh-oh. Craig, can you, oh. Is the light on?
Okay. Good evening, Mayor, Town Commissioners, local citizens, and fellow Lions. I'm Mike Delaney, and I'm here on behalf of the Ennis Lions Club. The Ennis Lions Club is the largest Lions Club in the state of Montana. This is our 75th year in Ennis, Montana, and we have 62 members and adding every month. We have a history of being passionate for serving our community. This dog park that we're proposing we continue in that same tradition. Much like our mayor and commissioners, we serve our community. We volunteer to serve our community. Therefore, the Lions motto is we serve. We serve and support our community, and we do so in many ways with a host of initiatives and partnerships. Some of the examples of those are the Madison Valley Medical Center, the Senior Center, Madison Valley Food Bank, Meals on Wheels, Big Brothers and Sisters, Ennis Lions Park and Ball Fields, Senior Center, Coats for Kids, Montana Sight and Hearing, Montana School for the Deaf and Blind, Leader Dogs for the Blind, Montana Madison Valley Fire Department, College and VOTEC scholarships, not to mention kids programs such as the Halloween Carnival, the Christmas Stroll, Easter Egg Hunt, Peace Poster Contest, Science Fair Awards, Father's Day Fishing Derby, Children's Eye Exams, and much more. I don't list those now to boast, but to mostly let you know how passionate we are about serving. As you can see with this list, they're all great causes, and we focus on programs and initiatives that we feel will benefit our community and our citizens. We enjoy our partnership at the Lions Park with the town of Ennis, and we're seeking additional ways to serve our community there. We now come before you to clarify any potential questions regarding the fenced dog park proposal for our Ennis Lions Park. It seems that there may have been some miscommunications and misunderstandings when we made this request a year ago. Here are some clarifications. The Ennis Lions Club will be financing this upgrade for fencing and signage in our park. Here's an example of the sign that we would post. It's in your packet, I believe. There's no out-of-pocket expense to the town of Ennis. The Ennis Lions Club, in partnership with the town of Ennis, currently maintains the Ennis Lions Park with the town of Ennis. There would be no need for additional services from the town of Ennis for maintenance, as the Ennis Lions will be responsible for maintaining and servicing the dog park. We have seen an overwhelming response from members of our community to our proposal for a fenced dog park. In just the last 2 months, we have passively gathered 215 signatures on petitions for this upgrade. Remember, we have local folks coming to Ennis on a daily basis from communities just outside of town, including Cameron, McAllister, Virginia City, VC Ranches, Antelope Meadows, Pronghorn, Shining Mountains, etc., that have dogs and a desire for a dog park. After careful consideration, we would plan to locate the revised dog park in an unused portion of the park in the northwest corner, leaving about 8 foot of space to the road to the lagoon, making sure we do not encroach on any underground lines to the lagoon. We feel this upgrade to our park would also all ages and interact and meet new friends with common interests, and therefore bring our community together as a whole. The Lions are sensitive about the need for safe and sanitary conditions at the Ennis Lions Park as anyone is. Since we already allow dogs in the park and interact with other dogs and people, it would be an improvement to have this in a controlled space as well. Also, there would be no negative change to the sanitary conditions in the park, since currently dogs are taking potty breaks all over the park. There is also an immense amount of wildlife that frequents our park that could bring in unwanted conditions. Basically, there would be no change because we see as far as sanitary conditions. This fenced area would therefore improve that situation. As previously mentioned, the Ennis Lions Club maintains the park, and we have done so for decades. We have always worked together to make things happen for our community. Our members agreed and voted to commit to this project and would stand by our record of doing what it takes to follow through on our commitment to you, our mayor, the town council, the citizens, to maintain this needed upgrade to our park. We hereby request that the mayor and town council reconsider and have a revote on this proposal to add a fenced dog park at Lions Park. Please vote yes and allow the Ennis Lions to further serve our community and our citizens with this upgrade to our park. any questions or for me or any of our Lions contemporaries here?
As far as the rules go, how are they enforced or maintained, or are they?
I think they're enforced and maintained mostly by volunteer, the people that come to the dog park, just like all the other rules at the park are voluntarily followed at the pond and throughout. People just, although we do have lions that would be going to the dog park probably pretty much every day because a lot of our lions walk their dogs in the park, and we go there frequently for maintenance and things like that. So we would help police that ourselves as well. Julie?
We formed a dog park committee, and there's 4 of us that are committed to checking on that park consistently, making sure that it stays clean, that the rules are followed. And we actually have a committee of 4 of our lions that will be keeping a close eye on it.
Will you guys all go to the mic when you speak, just so that,
Okay, come on.
so that whoever's taking notes doesn't get to spend 4 hours later trying to figure out what we're saying?
Will they all be dedicated to, even in 2 years, 3 years, if this happens to fizzle out, everybody's gonna be dedicated to your committee?
Excuse me.
So in 3 or 4 years, if this happens to fizzle out, is there something in your handbook or something that's gonna maintain for people in your committee?
Well, we are constantly adding members to our membership, and it's 4 right now, but all of our duties through all the things that I just mentioned, there's not just a couple of people that do that, and that's all they do. We all cycle things out. So there's probably always going to be 4 people that are dedicated to doing this, if not more.
Mm-hmm.
And our membership being 62, I think we're adding 6 new members in the next month.
Members last night.
Yeah.
We inducted 2 more last night, and they're, willing to lend a hand. Like I said, we're always been able to get everything we needed to do done in the park, including, all the upkeep and everything with the town's assistance, of course, but mostly it's us.
Including all of the, hi, my name is DC Alert. I'm a lion, so it's nice to see everybody. Another thing that was brought up was the community involvement, but also what we did last year when we had the River Gorge. That was a huge project of getting the park back open again so we could have it open for the community. So I think we all band together to make sure that we could do that. And it wasn't just the park committee, it was the entire Lions group, including reaching out to the community. And I think that's something that we could do as well with the dog park, because it is on the average for the state of Montana, 2.1 dogs per family in the state of Montana. Pretty much, and Julie can go over this as well, how many rest areas, and considering the Lions Club is a rest area, have an actual dog park, a place to exercise your dogs and relieve. You'll find in most communities that dog park people that visit that are very pet responsible owners. So I think, as to your question, as far as the rules are concerned, I think that's something that pretty much we've got some good pet owners that are going to go to the dog park, are going to follow those rules, but we could also continue educating them. So that's one thing that the Lions that we like to do, is to continue to grow and to educate. So that's another thing we could help. A lot of people go and they talk. It's like, oh, where do you go to the vet? Where do you get your vaccines from? Where, oh, my dog has this thing, or I noticed that. It gets people talking, and then we can also educate the community.
Thank you, commissioners, for having us. My name is Kent Porterfield, and I'm a citizen here in town. I'd like to also mention to the commissioners that we spend an average between 80 and 120 hours a month maintaining that park during our summer months or growth months. So we always usually have somebody out at that park maintaining that park. We also spend over $20,000 a year at that park maintaining that park. Without the Ennis Lions Club, that duty would fall upon you. We take this matter very seriously. We do want to work in partnership with the town of Ennis, and we really appreciate your vote for this, and we will maintain that park. Thank you.
So my question would be, since this is a portion of your management agreement, that this, if the commission, I'm the housekeeping section of everything. If the commission chooses to approve this, that with the management agreement, I would have to come to a meeting and we would have to revisit this. And that maybe even annually this gets pulled out and reminded that that's there. She's like, oh, I know this.
Well, Karina Christensen, just to comment on that, I think and one of the ways that the Lions and the town of Ennis have worked together really well is we had Dick Barr was the mayor for many, many years. We had John Bancroft was a commissioner for many, many years. We don't really have that liaison now. And I think we need to somehow have a good partnership and have somehow have a liaison situation. I know it's an off dog parks it's off topic a little bit, but I think it's an opportunity to talk about that, and we do need to set that up, a liaison person set up, so that town has someone that they can go to with the Lions, and the Lions has one person they can go to with the town, so we have good open communication through this process. Circle back to Nikki's question about what happens if these 4 people that are on the dog park committee peter out and nobody wants to deal with it in 10 years. We put a lock on the gate. I mean, it's kind of easy to, if we don't, it's off in the corner, it's an unused space now. If it's not getting used and a long ways down the line, it's not getting used and no one's policing it, we just shut it down. But I don't see that happening. As active as the Lions have been, I mean, you all see how active we've been. We have a history of really knocking it out of the park. That's not going to happen. But worst case scenario, I think there's an answer to that.
Hi, I'm Jessica Wittenberg. I'm just a resident.
Jessica, what's your last name?
Wittenberg. So I was just looking up some benefits and conflicts to a dog park, and this is open access journal from the National Institutes of Health, and there's a lot of big positives that a dog park can bring to a community. Biggest thing is getting our dogs out and in an area where they can be off leash and there's no problems that arise. I don't know if any of you have seen me out and about with my dog, but he likes to run with me. And it's really hard sometimes to keep his behavior contained. Like he wanted to come with me tonight because he knew I was going out and this is our time that we go. But he's not always well behaved. Can bring him to a dog park because sometimes he wants to socialize. I can bring him to a dog park. He can socialize. He can be off leash. He can run. He doesn't have to be restrained or scolded in any way. It helps reduce his anxiety. If there's been a while that he hasn't been socialized with other dogs, he starts to get anxious and misbehaves. And these are the things that are mentioned in this journal review. That's public access. There are some issues that dog parks can bring about, but also they can help reduce some of those same issues. So aggressive behavior, a dog park can help reduce aggressive behavior because they're properly socialized. It also can bring a community together. This is also provided in this review. And then of course there's issues that dog parks can present, like dogs might not get along with each other, and hopefully it's up to the owner's discretion to say, we need to split this up. Hopefully the dog park's big enough to where it's not so crowded and that the dogs can get away from each other if they need to. And so the issues that you're talking about as far as the public picking up for themselves, signage. And we've seen that the Lions Park is really great about providing signage. I mean, they even provide signs such as, remind yourselves to be kind to each other. Like, at the rest stop where there's people coming in from other places and then mixing with the locals, and we just need to remember, be friendly. And it can also help reduce actually criminal behavior. It improves social capital. And so that's what this review is talking about. But as far as like for people to maintain the park, we're giving it community volunteer and like involvement. If signs are posted, just like they are in the Lions Park of pick up after your dog, please, then people are going to take that initiative. And as long as like the garbage bins are emptied, which I would imagine that the committee would be really happy to do that, you know, check on them, then, you know, according to this, there shouldn't be really an issue. So that's all I have to say. I'm a big advocate of it. The only other side is like, when I took my dog recently to the vet, they asked, you know, is he going to be socialized with other dogs? You might want to update his Bordetella vaccination. And so we would just, you know, maybe there can be some educational outreach to owners saying, you know, you just have to make sure that you keep up on your dog's vaccinations, so that we don't end up spreading these common dog colds, diseases. So that's all I have to say to that.
Jim Forsberg. I'm currently the president of the Lions Club here. I've been a member for 40 plus years, and I've seen a lot of things happen in our community, and I've spent a lot of time in our Lions Club Park, and we've always considered it to be the crown jewel of our community, and we've always tried to make sure it looks pristine, and we just constantly get comments from people just passing through, and it's just a beautiful thing. So I just want to bolster what some of the other comments already were spoken, especially about like what happens a couple of years and the committee kind of falls apart. Well, I'm just have to say, being in the club this many years, everything is volunteer. And I'm just totally amazed how things just keep getting done. And it's just a turnover and a turnover and turnover of new people coming through. So I don't see that as being a problem. So thank you.
Mr. Forsberg, so I posed that question and Karina kind of jumped in, but I didn't get a final answer on, so if they do approve this, is there any objection to reviewing the MOU? Because currently there's 7 items, and that I don't know if anybody, even as you change seats, reviews these frequently, because as part of this requirement right here that you come to the town to approve something, there's also annually a list of fixtures and major equipment. And this is my 2nd year, and I don't know that I've seen a list or of equipment. So I'm just saying, should it be approved, then this is on its 5-year cycle anyway, so.
I know that list of was prepared not last year, the year before. Yeah, that was, and just to be clear, the equipment, we gave you a list of equipment. It is equipment that the Lions Club has paid for. I mean, like those mowers are tens of thousands of dollars, and we have like 4 of them. And well, the big one is. The smaller ones are less. But yeah, so we did give that list of equipment not last year, but the year before. We have that documentation in our archives. Yeah, and to speak to longevity, when we were looking through the archives, there was a letter to the town of Ennis from President Lyon Forsberg in 1984. So we're around a while.
I know, and it's like that.
Yeah.
There's some pretty hefty files around here.
Yeah, so yeah, I think back to the liaison, we need to have that conversation set up in a more formalized way. But yeah.
So is this the agreement between the town of Ennis and Lions Club?
Yep.
Okay.
Can I look at that document, make sure I saw it, because I was archiving things here this winter.
That's the latest one that I have.
Okay, yep, that's exactly the one I saw. Yep.
You got the same file that I have?
Same document, thanks.
Okay. That's down. Any other, oh.
I know, there has to be one in every.
Can I still ask? I can. No, I love the Lions Club and I love the Lions Club Park. I cleaned the Lions Club Park for a million thousand years. Yes, so, and I know that they're down there a lot. But I also have 5 grandchildren and they're down there a lot. So I just am wondering about, the kids ride their bikes, they're screaming, they're yelling. I was in Bozeman today and they have a fantastic dog park, but it's down past like the iPlace. And there's no playground equipment, there's no baseball fields there. It's just a dog park. And so, I don't know, I have concerns about the kids being in 2 spots and the dogs being right here. And I think the dog park, where it's proposed, is where like the batting field is or was, or will be. Yeah, so those are my concerns. So, I mean, I have 3 dogs, so I love dogs. But there is some concerns for, do kids and dogs, a lot of people are really responsible pet owners, but there's always those 1 or 2, yep, that kind of ruin it for all of us.
I think it's just like the kid dog related. I mean, you gotta monitor that stuff. I have a 4-year-old and I have a 4-year-old and a 15-month-old dog, and she can't go up to every dog. It's just, it needs to be highly monitored. And you're right.
But a lot of these kids are down there during the daytime fishing or riding their bikes, or they're not with an adult. They're
parental supervision.
Yeah. So, okay.
Currently, dogs are allowed in the park on leash. Sometimes we see dogs off leash in there, and we have to go down there and correct that situation. This would give everybody a place to bring their dog and put it behind a 4-foot high fence in a 10,000 square foot area, and with a double gate on the front of it, to where it's an apparatus where you have to enter first, close a gate, then open another gate to get in, and the same way to get out, to make sure your dog's on leash, so nobody opens a gate and a dog just errantly bolts out of there. It could happen, yes. I mean, anything could happen, but it's also quite a bit of ways away from, we do have playground equipment and the fishing pond and all. It's a couple of 100 yards away, which is helpful. It's not right next to it or anything, but yeah, I think it's going to be safer having the dog park there, because again, it's wide open right now, and all somebody has to do is their leash, the dogs slip out of the leash and they're all over the park. If you let them off the leash in a fenced area, it's going to be safer.
So Mike,
hopefully that helps.
you said a 4-foot tall fence? Is that
4-foot knotted 4x4 squares? Well, here's the point with that. We've thought all that through, and if you put your dog in the backyard and go take a shower, of course your dog can scale that, because you're not, and you've let it off the leash. You're there interacting with other people and other dogs, and hopefully you'll see your dog trying to climb the fence. I mean, that's the point, where you're there with your dog. A lot of dogs can scale a fence, if they really want to and they're in distress or something. But if the owner's there, which is the only way it can happen according to the rules, then it shouldn't be an issue.
Cool. Yeah. I guess I'm personally not a dog owner. I never have been, and I travel to countries where people eat dogs, actually. So,
Sorry.
You don't have to come to the dog park. And that is another point, really, though, because there's a lot of people that would like to have a dog park, and there's a lot of people that wouldn't bring their dog to the dog park and probably shouldn't bring their dog to the dog park, and that's okay with us. We're not asking anybody to fund this or anything. We're trying to provide a space for the people that do want this, and it seems to be a lot of people. And it's just an initiative that we feel like is important and we're passionate about, and we're hoping that you guys would agree as well.
Is it
is it all one area, or is there gonna be a partition for like smaller sized dogs, or is this just?
Right now, it's all one area planned. So again, people may choose not to bring their dog. I mean, and there's all different hours. We used to bring our dog long before everybody else even woke up. You know, there's different hours that you'll figure out that nobody will be there, so you can bring your dog. But we don't have that in the plan now. Sure.
I go pretty much twice a month to the dog park in Gallatin, the one in Gallatin right off of, what is it, Bax?
Yeah.
Bax. Yeah. And there are all size dogs there, and they all seem to be fine. It's a big enough area. They interact. They actually start to get to know each other, which I come all the way from Ennis, and it's like my dogs know this little dog named Rosie, you know, and they look forward to seeing her. I have a hound, and I put a bark collar on her because she sounds horrendous, like she's going to kill somebody. And I live in town. But let me tell you, when I exercise her, she does not bark. She is so excited. She is so happy. This dog has anxiety. She's on medication. She sleeps the whole way home. So, but when she doesn't, just like Jessica's dog, you can feel that anxiety. It's pent up. She has nowhere to go. I live in a really small little place in town, little fenced yard. I have to take her different places so she can run and she can exercise. And also, when dogs do that, they're less barking. So you're going to hear a lot less barking in town, and a lot less people that are not going to be complaining that, you know, that dog is barking again. It's because that dog is getting out and getting exercise.
What is the area? Speaking of area, I have it
The-
drawn. Do we have it?
The northwest corner,
Yeah.
it's about 10,000 square feet. And just for clarification, this would be in addition to allowing dogs to walk still on leash in the park. We're not changing that. Kay asked that question, so I was just clarifying to everyone else in case there was confusion. We're not changing that. This is an addition.
Have you reviewed, when this came up, I looked at American Kennel Association's recommendations for dog park. Has anybody reviewed that? So I see the double gate. I see the fence height, which I would prefer for it to be a little bit taller. I also have a Mastiff, so it's a little bit different. That's not the one that you worry about. It's actually the short dog. But a barrier. I have a Mastiff, and everybody jokes and everybody talks about the small dog. My dog has been bit by small dogs 1 billion times because he's large and he's intimidating. People then don't like me because I have a large dog that is intimidating. So part of that American Kennel Association was, while there is good, please recognize that the bad part of it is if there's a negative interaction, there's also continuing hostility between those two dog owners. So that's something you guys would be responsible for mitigating.
I guess in this, maybe the commission would want to consider putting this in front of MMIA. You did?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Last year.
So, okay, that answers
And
my
it's
question.
always the dog owners. It doesn't matter where it happens. The dog owner is 100% responsible.
Correct.
So as
Even
your
on private
rules
property,
state that
even in your home.
you have a 16-year-old as the handler. So just as long as a 16-year-old understands the ramifications of being the handler of that dog.
And Nikki, if I can please add, I think by having that separate location, that could happen just walking into the park. Like Mike said, there are so many people that come in that don't have their dog on a leash because they feel their dog is trained or doesn't need to be leashed. That could still happen, and still a person could still get bit. Another dog could get bit that is walking on a leash. So it could still happen in the middle. It could happen, but this is giving somebody or giving a group of people the opportunity to have them and maybe off leash in a secured more area, opposed to just walking without a leash in the actual park, closer to the kids that are on the playground, closer to the baseball fields, all of that, where you see it all the time. So this might actually make somebody say, hey, yeah, let's go run over here instead.
I have a question. So it's been a while, but there is a walking trail that was put up by Madison Byways that is not far from Lions Club. It is right across the river, so that you can do exactly what you were proposing.
I'm glad you brought that up, Brandy, because my brother-in-law brought that up to me because he used to take his dogs down there to do that. And that's actually where I broke my leg a year and a half ago, walking my dogs. So that is a concern because I did break my leg on that. I had my dogs on leash. They saw another leash. I did not let go of the leash. So always let go of the leash so you don't break your leg. But that because of the river gorges in that area, that's one of the concerns there, that we wouldn't be able to use that because of how much the river gorges. Because he did bring that up to me and I was like, oh yeah. And then he explained and the different things. So I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, no worries. And I was gonna say that Madison Byways, it's supposed to be a maintained trail, but as of right now, they just put up the sign every year, and it gets gorged out every year.
Yeah, I
And
think
yeah,
our
that road is really, really rough, especially when people drive down it.
I think our investment would be at risk if we put fencing down there because of the gorge and all that and accessibility. And
Oh, are you talking about down at the one across? The Madison Byways one?
yeah,
Yeah.
that would be a risky place to put it.
Any other questions?
Yes, I am a fan of the Lions and I appreciate everything you guys do for our community. You do a lot for our community. I just wonder, or I guess I have a question for Eric, really. How many hours do you guys spend down there? None? Maintaining?
No, other than last year, no.
So you just help with the
We just took care of the rest area.
okay, the bathrooms.
And that's reimbursed through Department of Transportation?
Not entirely reimbursed, so that it's true that they have fallen short on the amount that they give us to do that.
That's good to take back to the Lions because we don't know that.
Yeah,
So,
I'd have to pull the number, but
it has gone down. It
every year.
originally was 9,000, and it is lower than that now. I think this year it might have been 8,300. But
And things get more expensive, so that's great. Yes, toilet paper is more expensive than it was a couple years ago. And so is cleaning staff.
everything else.
Other than helping out last year after the gorge, we don't maintain.
Well, and I pulled the records on that just today because I thought that question might come up.
Great.
Oh, gosh. Next.
No, you're a quick learner, am I?
So, last summer, yeah, it's upward. That was, of course, when we were dealing with the gorge more, but it's always close to 100 hours per month that the Lions are putting in, and that doesn't include that includes just maintenance on the park.
That's none of the events.
That's none of the events. That's none of the other stuff. That is just park maintenance stuff is upwards of 100 hours. Less in May, less in September, October, but June, July, August, pretty close to that.
In the heat of the summer, we have to cut the ball fields twice a week. Isn't that right, Kent? Twice a week. And we buy all that lawn equipment. We have all volunteer hours there. We try to minimize how much. I mean, of course, the gorge, we used everybody's help on that one. So, but I think it's just the restrooms and the pick up the trash and take it to the dump for the city.
Yeah, I guess
Town.
I forgot about the trash, but I mean, we're there anyways. So
Yeah.
it's not- And actually, we only pull trash from the restroom. I think that's
Right there by the restroom. Yeah. Yeah, we maintain all the dog stations that have bags on them currently. Make sure those are full during the season. We can go out there now to make sure.
Thank you, and I guess I just still have concern about the dogs and kids don't necessarily mix. I have a dog lover, I have two, I love them to death, they're my babies. Just not everybody's responsible pet owners and not everybody is a responsible parent. I mean, knows what the kids are doing either, so I just have concerns about that.
Well, again, dogs are allowed to be in the park now
Right.
on leash. So
But
this will give them this is going to give them a fenced in place to take their dogs. I don't think it's going to draw more people per se. It's going to allow the people that bring their dogs on leash to let them off leash. So there may be an increase, yeah. But again, it's away from the playground equipment and all, and you know, there's a slight risk there of existing. So.
Sorry, go ahead. Hi, my name's Julie. The dog park rules that are going to be posted state that within the dog park, no children under 13 are allowed without adult supervision.
Right, but there's nobody to force that either.
But there isn't anybody in a normal dog park.
I understand.
The only other thing that I wanted to mention that you guys, I think I put in the notes that I submitted to you guys, is that there are currently 58 state rest areas in Montana. 36 of those up to now have dog parks in them.
Is
which
that
is huge?
Sorry, that age of 13, is that a common?
It's the dog park rules that I chose out of all there's 30 different rule boards that you can choose from. Some are funny, some are short, some are too long. These are the ones that I chose that I thought were the most appropriate for our town. And they're just, yeah, that's on the sign that I've chosen for us to have. And we can be flexible with that. It can be adjusted.
Well, that's what I was just thinking, like 13's what, 7th grade, middle school?
Yeah.
That's not bringing it, that's just being in the fence. That's
Right.
not handling a dog. It says dog handlers must be at least 16 years of age.
Right, but there's a softball game going on and there's little kids everywhere and they love dogs and they're gonna wanna go.
But again, that's present currently. That's a present
We have dogs.
situation.
It's already a dog park. It's just that it doesn't have a control area. So
Is that why this location was selected? Because of the proximity to the park?
Yes, we're sensitive to the safety and sanitary nature of the park, as anybody is. So yes, we chose that area. It's away from pretty much everything else and safest place we feel we could put it without any interference or taking up a big space of the park that we might deem for future use.
I guess going off on the concerns of the dog park and trying to think also of maybe filling in some gaps for a feasible solution. And I don't attend Lions Club meetings. I apologize. I kind of live in a hole in the ground because I'm so consumed with my household these days. But my question would be, is it possible, because I visit a lot of like parks where kids can go and dogs can go. And there is that really great park in Bozeman. It's huge. It's great for running. It's great for bringing your dog. It's great for having a kid play. And it's separate, surprisingly. And they, it takes up a lot of space. But would it be possible to post a sign in the fenced off playground area that says, hey, no dogs allowed? Because I can say that right now there isn't a sign there, and when there's no other kids around, my dog likes to play in there, but he thinks he's a child. He'll go on the playground with my daughter, and it's like, oh my gosh, this is terrible. I'm an irresponsible dog person because I'm not seeing the rules. But if there was a sign, I wouldn't bring him in there. So if it was possible, if we're going to put a sign up for the dog park, why don't we put a sign up for the playground too? It sounds silly. I know you're smirking over there. I see you. It sounds silly, but these are things that matter. They kind of do. Don't what? Don't eat the dog. Yeah. There is a sign up at the dinosaur park that says that. It says, please do not let your dog be on this point. This is a child only area. And it's at the same place where the dog park is, but it's on the other side of the really long area that it's composed of. And, you know, if there's enough signage and people are aware, then, you know, they're putting themselves at risk, they're putting their child at risk, they're putting their dog at risk if they don't follow the rules of the park. And I mean, a dog is going to go after another dog if it wants to, yes. But I mean, a dog owner is going to know their dog's behavior if it's aggressive or not. Right now, I live across the street from a place where people are renting, and I see their dogs inside the van most of the time when they're there. And I'm wondering, is this because there's a housing, you know, affordability shortage, and this place has been for rent for a while, but it doesn't allow dogs, and there's no yard. But my husband and I, we've seen these dogs in the vehicle, and then they'll take them out. Then they might be people that are visiting. It's not my business. But I know that if there was a dog park, they could take their dogs to the dog park and still go about whatever it is that their situation is. But if there's signs, then it can help. So I'm just thinking that maybe there can be some other considerations in proposing this dog park, because there are dog parks and regular parks where it does work, as long as there's separation and people are aware of the rules. So
I think we'd be totally willing to put the sign up around the play area to directing people to that area, and that there's no dogs allowed in this area. And, you know, people tend to follow the signage if they're somewhat responsible.
So it sounds like you guys have a pile of people. You said 200 signatures currently. So there's definitely some community support for this. There's been a lot of I feel legitimate points made on both sides. So would there be any chance that we could, if we were to vote this in, that you guys could like give us an update on it like 4 months down the road or
Of
or
course,
something like
we'd
that?
love to do that.
And that way we're getting like some real time feedback on possible improvements we can do, or yeah.
One more thing I forgot. I have a friend back from Florida that just recently, he's a professional dog trainer, and he sold his house. He bought a huge RV and a huge trailer, and he's been contracted by it's like an HTV kind of thing, and he's literally traveling the country, going from town to town, training people and educating them on being a dog parent, being a dog owner. And I asked him, I said, when are you coming to Ennis? And he goes, it's on my schedule. So he is literally going to drive across the country, knowing that I live here and that I told him what a big, community this is. And so we're literally on his schedule. Those are some things that we could do. Maybe we could offer some workshops to the community on open dog training, maybe on education, maybe I would take that program just to help educate people, maybe on behavioral, so we can, educate them and help them. And that's one step. So I'm kind of excited, and I'll keep you guys posted on when he's going to be here. So.
Maria.
So will the dog park? No, I have one other comment. So if the dog park goes in there, I would expect more people to come on down there to the park area then, or the rest area. And all the stuff that I've read and talked about finance and so on, which was one of the big questions I had. Has any consideration been given to parking? There's a lot of things that go on at that park, whether it's the Brew Fest or the farmer's market and so on. Is parking going to become a problem? Adequate parking going to become a problem?
Hi, it's Julie again, and I spend quite a bit of time at the park. And what I see every day that I'm in town or at the park is people that are that live in town, walking from their homes to the park with their animals. So the parking lot's not that huge. I've never seen it except for at the Brew Fest, where it's taking up all of Main Street and 287 and everything else. I don't see the dog park creating that much traffic. the parking lot will probably have more cars in it going forward once we get the dog park built.
And I don't think we want parking to thwart any of our improvements that we want to do at the park. There's going to be times when there might be excess and crowded parking, but there's a lot of property there, a lot of events happening. You know, there could be baseball and people fishing and, you know, regardless. So, I mean, it hasn't been an issue yet. And if it becomes one, you know, we'll figure it out like the Lions always do.
All right, Maria.
This is a little off subject and it is not in opposition to the park at all. DC, did you say in Montana, most households have 2.5 dogs?
I think they said the average is 2.1 per family.
2 plus. If our town has 1,000 people in it, I hope that all of you will spread this word. That means 2,000 dogs, which we don't have 2,000 dogs, but we have 200 dogs. Right now, we have 55 dogs licensed. We do not have responsible dog owners in town. And your list consists of people that are out of town as well. I understand that, but I hope you'll spread that word.
Oh, yes. I mean, you have my word that I will spread that word.
I think it would be a good place for, like DC said, for education, but also initiatives to help recruit people to get their dogs registered and get that word out there and, you know, constantly talk to people about their animal parenting.
Maybe there's a way we could make a sign at the dog park that says, is your dog licensed, and make a little QR code right there.
Yeah.
Just
Provide
scan in and
forms
goes
or
right
something.
to the forms.
I've never heard of this. My dog is not licensed.
It's in the town code and most towns require it. And
Wow, okay.
that money, I'm like, just so everybody knows where the money
Like, this
goes
is
to.
mind blowing. I am one. I will be your example. Sorry. I didn't even know
That
that.
goes just into animal control. So if we pick up dogs or animals that we cannot find the owner for, it was convenient where we would just bring them down to Dr. Stacy or before that White and White, and they would house them, board them if we couldn't find the owners. But now there is not that. So if we find an animal that we cannot find a home to, they go all the way to Bozeman. So that comes out of the town's coffers, and that last year there was $360 in that coffer because there was 36 licensed last year. So if you actually think about a trip to Bozeman and back, and then what we have, it's not like a vet's like, sure, I'll take your problem. No, we pay them. So be aware that if that is part of this whole.
How often did that happen? Did y'all have to do that at all?
John did have to do that. Last year there was two.
Probably,
It was
yeah,
two.
because up until then, they used to come to us and we would find the owner and we would call them and we didn't even charge the owner for boarding or for any care that they needed. And we just got them back united with their owner.
But if you end up with a bite and you can't find an owner.
We pay for the
you're
quarantine.
looking at quarantine.
And euthanasia, yes.
Yeah, possibly.
So I've got a question. So if the dog is tagged and it has its address, but it's not licensed, do you still take them away or do you find their owner and then say, hey, you got to
we
pay the
always try
license?
It's always owner first. Like, go find your owner. And by the way, we looked up to see if you had a tag and you don't, which is in fact a town ordinance. So this is your friendly reminder, which has also been sent out on your water bill for the last several months. And Maria patiently highlighted it on every single water bill that went out last month.
So what if your dog is licensed but has no tag?
What do you mean?
You have to have verification of,
It's like a color tag that says
and then you get
town of Ennis and it.
The tag number. And there,
Oh.
you get the tag by proving your rabies vaccination. That's really the purpose
Oh,
behind
okay.
it is
All right.
so that if
Those are my
there's a dog
questions.
bite, we can immediately go, they're current, yay, good. We don't have to immediately go into a quarantine. It's a public safety, health and safety issue. That's why it's an ordinance.
Okay. So do you think that there's still majority of residents that are delinquent or do you think that they just don't know? Like, do you think it might be a combination of both? Sorry, what's that?
The number has gone like that.
200. Okay. Maybe Ennis continuing community education or something.
I didn't know either.
I feel terrible trying to be, but because I have them out all the time.
Do you have a question?
No.
Anybody else?
I made you laugh just to make you
Hurt for a moment. All right, so at this point, I think we've had enough public conversation back and forth. I'm gonna close it for a minute, let these guys hash it out, and go from there. Is there a motion? I have no idea. James, hi.
Hey, how's everybody doing? I was listening very intently to the entire discussion there. And as your town attorney, James Greenbaum, I'd just like to offer my thanks to the Lions Club for coming in with your proposal. And, obviously you guys are very passionate about the Lions Field Park and managing it for dog park purposes. I think that's great, but I don't make the decisions. I'm not an advocate one way or the other. I'm just here to advise the commissioners. One thing that Mayor Nikki brought up, and I would recommend that the commissioners consider, is the possibility of maybe giving this, if you were to go forward with approving it, maybe do it on a conditional basis. Instead of making this part of the 5-year renewal, maybe just say the dog park would be subject to your discretionary review at this time next year. So you could see if it's working out, if it's viable. If not, then you can, maybe add new conditions to it or just terminate the whole concept. So that's one thing. Number two, I was looking at the actual, the existing memorandum of understanding. From an attorney's perspective, I think it could use a few more details. I know you guys are managing the park and doing a great job down there, but probably the wording in the memorandum could probably use some sprucing up, some revisions there. Just clarify what you guys are doing down there, and let's just bolster that. And then again, without belaboring the kind of legal stuff that we get into, we might want to have a clause in there that states that the Lions Club indemnifies, holds harmless.
James, you're cutting out.
What part did you last hear?
Indemnify.
Okay, so what I was saying is that you should have, we should revise the language in the memorandum so that it clarify the maintenance agreement. What exactly are you guys doing as far as maintenance? And then have a provision for indemnification, hold harmless, and insure the town of Ennis for the activities that you're going to promote down there as far as the dog park. And then, Nikki, you weren't there. My first comments were about having this as maybe a conditional 1 year, license agreement for them to do the dog park for 1 year subject to review. So it's not connected to the 5-year renewal. I think I saw some people out there shaking their heads like, yeah, that's not a bad idea. We'd be willing to settle for that. And then this is more of a question for Corey. You guys still hear me okay? Or am I cutting out again?
You're good.
We can hear you.
Oh, okay. Okay, so this is a question for Corey. So when you're traveling overseas, what is your favorite breed? Is it Chow? Yeah, I just couldn't resist. I just couldn't resist. And I don't know. I'll bring Kimba back up here. I don't know where she went, but I was just like, would you recommend a golden retriever with like a garlic ginger sauce or?
No more. All right. Now we've got
Okay.
everybody. I think we've had everybody's comments on this one to death.
All right. Thank you.
Can I make one quick comment? Lions Club International does have insurance that covers all of our fundraising and service activities. So that is covered. If we want to have it in the memorandum, that's fine, but just so you know that that is covered. There was something else he said that I wanted to address.
Maintenance.
1 year.
I lost it.
Contract.
Sorry. A year to review? No, yeah, that was.
There was an MOU and the indemnification on dollars, so as to not, then the 1 year.
Yeah, we were we were going to ask y'all if we would consider 2 years because it's going to take us till at least June to get the thing built. So it would be, you know, we could review it, just whatever you decide, but. Oh, look, Corey.
Yummy.
Yum.
I remember my other comment. My other comment was that we have, Lions Club International has a legal department, which we have shared this memo with them and we have them helping us to review it also, so we can coordinate that.
Brandy, you got that all written down? We need a motion on the floor to have commissioner comment. Right.
That would be great. Are we
Close
there?
public comment now?
Are we there? Forever hold your peace.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Make a motion to approve the dog park with an MOU in place between the town and the Lions Club Park with an indemnification clause protecting the town. Is, how would I say that again?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like that. You got it.
I'm not sure about 1 year or 2 year.
I get it till June.
And that gives a full summer season, fall, 1 year, 1 year? I think was.
Okay, with a 1 year trial period that will come due this time next year, and we will re-examine it, and we will be in touch every 3 to 4 months to get a feel as to how it's going. And we'll, with a liaison,
What was that last statement?
a liaison person to, with the Lions Club, to make sure that we are all on the same page.
I second that.
All right. Commission comment. Discussion.
Crap, I didn't have my mic on.
I hope you got all that. We can see how it goes. I mean, like, my thought on it too is like, I don't know why it has to be here. I like them separate. I like dog parks that are completely separate. We have a rock pit that would be available as a different project. I guess if we find that they don't meld, that could be an option too. But that's a neighborhood rock pit.
Is there a way to possibly terminate it before that time period, before the 1 year?
It's an MOU, and if there's a violation by either party of the agreement, then you can either hash it out and figure out a solution, or you can terminate the contract, which I think we have to figure it out. It's one of those.
Try.
They're very back and forth that way. So see how it goes. And it's in its early stages. All my reviews were good, bad, and ugly. It can go good, it can go bad. It's going to be dependent on the owners. All the places that I reviewed and looked at, they're also bigger cities. We know how fabulous Facebook in Ennis, Montana is. So when somebody's dog does something it's not supposed to, then everybody's got a very strong opinion, and that poor person gets chastised forever. And
Dogs news.
so there's that. I mean, there's going to be positive and negative to all of it. So.
What is the brew
It's just, we'll have to review our contracts.
You should, there's gonna be plenty of.
Wait, okay. All right,
Yeah,
so
Chambers got plenty of restrooms.
a review of the contract every year. So you want them separated? Is that what I'm clear about? Like the dog park separate MOU from the rest of the park? Clear?
Yes.
That
Okay.
in the probably make.
Yeah, that would be, yes.
Okay. And that one's to be reviewed annually. Okay.
With a report every 3 to 4 months.
Is it 3 or 4?
Yes. Choose 3 or 4.
Yeah.
I set the agenda. Do it on
Yeah.
order.
Every 3.
Yeah, 3.
Every 4.
Quarterly report. Okay. What else you got? Any? No. I have my, I don't know. I'm not a lawyer and I don't pretend to be one, and I don't like picking things, but it's also my job to do that. If you look at the agreement, it says we don't discriminate against age, sex, gender, da-da-da-da-da. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. But then you I don't want somebody under whatever.
I don't know. Can we ask another question to the
What?
Lions Club or we're just? Okay.
Ask your question,
Well, I'm just wondering why it, was the 4-foot fence chosen because of cost?
No, because if the pet owners are in there with them, then it shouldn't be an issue. They shouldn't be jumping the fence.
Because they're supposed to be under your verbal command anyway. Supposed. My dog doesn't listen to me in my own kitchen, so he's old. He doesn't care anymore. All we can do is do the trial. I mean, I guess there's that. There's 200 and something, but I have serious safety concerns, but I also have a dog, and my husband also got bit in the face yesterday by somebody else's dog. So.
Do your rules permit you to ban a dog from the park?
What are you doing?
Dogs must be removed.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So we're there.
And I know it's not public comment, but 4-foot fence is the common height for fences. That's what I like. It's
the height that we had on 287 at the vet hospital. And we didn't have any dogs trying to jump in.
So
And we were boarding dogs and walking them and playing with them, and they never even tried to go to it, and that was by the highway.
Pretty far removed though, from the town, from the park, from the ball field, all that stuff.
remember, there's one vet in town, so hope this all goes well.
Right. There's town code that they can be written citation.
Yes.
If it's.
Mm-hmm.
We do have a police department.
All right. Any other? All right, crew. Motion second. Any other discussion? Last call from discussion from the commission before I call the vote. Are we there? I can't remember where I'm at. That was the
Right
longest
here.
conversation. Oh yeah, it was you, because you couldn't go first.
Aye.
Greg.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. So, motion carries. Whoever would like to hang out with me. I don't have things scheduled next Monday, do I? No. like she actually knows what I'm doing any day. So I'm here all day Monday. If a couple of you'd like to come, and we can at least like just sit down and draft kind of how we want this to look for an MOU. And I can, and if I have to be late Monday night, it doesn't matter until you're after work or whatever. Mayor at Ennis, Montana, or if you call, there's even a little button for me, and I have a little cell phone and it transfers to me. And sometimes I remember to pack that phone with me. I've been getting better, but you can only carry like 3 phones at a time, 4 phones at a time. But so whatever you want to do, and we'll sit down and kind of pick our little things and go through our MRU and chug along and check that off our list. Sound good? I don't know if that makes me a liaison or if I appoint one of those. You said liaison. Anyway, we'll figure that out. All right, sounds like a plan, guys. We'll see how that goes. Karen's not here tonight.
She's traveling, so
That's right.
sure she could chime in or not, but it doesn't look like she's able.
She's on the road. And so sorry, we're closing. We're moving on. I like bedtime. You can hang out for department reports if you want. Yes, there is. So Karen has a submitted report. Thank you. Same. Oops. Just steal every pen and go from there. Police department's report is also submitted as a written. There you go. I know you love it. Well, we just, if you would like to see copies, there's the library report from Karen. Highlights. I usually ask Nikki, but she wasn't feeling well and was like, I'm not going to go get the board members sick.
Well, technically my husband.
Oh, yeah. You don't do that. So those are both submitted. Any questions, comments?
Both. What else did she say?
I mean, library and police department are both. March 30th, that one. Are you going to be able to go to that one?
Me?
Yes.
What is it?
It's the administering and financing public libraries.
Is that the one in, I think.
Yeah,
we
that
rescheduled
was rescheduled.
Yes.
So it's rescheduled for March 30th.
So this is an old poster, right? It's 2022.
Yeah. You know, some of us haven't changed dates. Did you not see your first agenda? It was March of 2022 too.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what year it is and I don't know my alphabet. It was not a good one.
And notice at the bottom it says, and commissioners and mayor, you're invited to attend.
March 30th.
What day is that even? There's also jazz festival.
What?
And where,
Thursday, thank you.
and where is this at? Down at our library?
No, it will be in Virginia City
Oh,
at
yeah.
theirs
Big
because
secret
it's
there.
all Madison County libraries. That's the central location. Okay, so as it's March and we're already getting close to that fun budget word where we start yelling at people to get their budgets together. What?
Who does the interviews for their part-time position? Is it just done through the library, or do you have a say in it? Or?
I do have a say in it. So she was going to give me just like any of the other department heads, they let me know when they're doing interviews if I'd like to go down, what they got going on. Yeah, we're trying to do our due diligence with MMIAs, like you really are in charge.
Right.
Kind of thing. So that's what I know. All right, can we move on to the police department? I didn't see anything exciting.
All the excitement was yesterday. Today?
Not in town.
Yeah.
Matt actually was like all dejected one day. He's like, the county's all busy and I've been waiting for speeding and not everybody's being so good. It's like, well, good. You should be so happy. And Matt learned how to wave this month, so I'm going to give him kudos. He's waving. So in case you didn't know, that's been the joke. The new guy like didn't wave, and now we got him broke into waving again. Gotta really like, you really gotta wave at him. It takes a minute. Don't feel offended like it was been the joke, but he's great. Is that the trick?
Was the moose relocated, do you know? Or did it just wander out?
I think it wandered off.
I see there is a wildlife complaint, moose on the loose, but I don't.
There's always a moose on the loose.
I went down to the school and you got really great moose feeders up there.
Moose ears?
Yeah, the trees, they're perfect. Perfect height and everything.
You wanna, somebody's locked out forever. Okay. Yep, they're there. All right, let's keep moving on. Any other PD, anything questionable? I think that's, where's the rest of mine? Okay. Eric?
I did not get a written.
I see.
Kind of had a busy week, but other than normal activities, the only thing I have to report on was water leak downtown, which turned out to be abandoned.
Who did you meet with yesterday? It's like a quiz. He's like, it's been such a long week. Don't ask me right now. Bobby, you met with Bobby from Rural Water, right? Rural Water.
Yes. She gave us some, about the rates.
Yeah.
She gave us.
So you got that to me.
Really valuable information concerning how you go about getting the rates raised. And also
A resolution.
resolution for this. She's been working on it. Those rural waters are great too.
Yep.
I always say that.
So is that going to be on our next?
We have a work session after the Madison food thing on the 23rd. Talk about water. And the reason we're not doing the rates, until we look at the wastewater one, because we could spend money on public hearings and all, like, it's a process and there's a nice checklist and there's a nice flow sheet. Thank you, Bobby. But we're not doing that twice. We're
We're
gonna
going
do,
to head in the right direction where we have to look at the growth plan before we can look at water rates.
no, we just have the water PER and the wastewater, and then we have to actually make our decision on our plan, which is whatever that guy wants in my mind. If we can afford it.
It kind of works, you start backwards.
Yeah.
You start with your end date, work backwards with this.
Yeah.
That's how it kind of works.
This is when we expect our project to be completed. So as we categorize those 1 through 3, which ones we're going to choose, or 1 through 4, 1 through 10, and then how long we think it's going to take to accomplish all those. And then you start working back and you have to meet your target rate by the end of those. I had this huge discussion. I'll get to it. I guess, in my mayors, but Sydney mayor went through, they boasted that they were the lowest in the state for years, plus they had all the Balkan money. And then when he came in, the Balkan money crashed. And then they were still boasting that their water rate was 4 something. So he had to go from 14 to target rate, which there was 80 something. So he's like, just when you go through this process, give me a call, breathe, and then just take it slow. And that was his only comment, is he did it too fast, but he was worried. Yeah. Yeah. So I have all the resolutions and stuff and the timelines. So when we go into the water discussion, you can see them, so we can start making you feel better about it. But really, you need the wastewater too, because why go through the process twice? Because we know we're going to have both projects, or maybe we'll decide that we don't. But I really don't think that's going to be the case. I really think there's some 10-year, 15-year plan for this wastewater system that is going to be required. So, and figuring out how we're going to approach that. And this is that whole long-term funding thing. Like, is this something we can handle with loans and water rates, or we have to find other avenues? It's all kind of part of the bring it together discussion. What else? I think that's all.
Thank you, hires, what do you?
I do have seasonal help right now. He does better. He does a good job. He wants to stick around.
Meets the training requirements that we've kind of set. He's had requirements on where he needs to be in 3 months and 6 months, and then if he meets benchmarks, then we'll consider full-time.
So just one new hire?
Mm-hmm.
My plan is basically to put him on a mower and Kyle and I can go do, which our list has
tripled
in 2 days.
Yep.
I'm not, wow. But let's get through it.
So we're really investing in a cloning machine so that we have like 20 of him. I'd be happy.
Is it infrastructure stuff?
Mm-hmm.
What's the primary thing?
So our valves.
Same thing that we ran into last summer.
First and foremost, we need a few valves. Starting with downtown, we actually got pretty lucky that turned out to be a service line, because every valve we needed to have downtown shut off was closed all night long, and everybody had water all night. So now, us three are gonna have to. My plan is during the night, pick a night and spend 3 or 4 hours singling out, detecting and figuring out where we're gonna start, put a valve in first, before I just go punch holes in the roof.
And then we're thinking about taking bids on that one. We're debating back and forth.
I would love to get Hugo done like we did last year. That would half off the lower part down on, Ennis. That would, if anything happens, I could separate that neighborhood in halves.
Instead of
water shut offs instead of a whole half of town.
So is that basically how you're gonna find out where all the water's leaking at?
No, so it's a fine art of like supersonic hearing and training. It's not, the valves they help to some degree, but really, if you're good at this and you do it frequently, then you're even better at it. But it's basically you listen and you know.
And I'm really, when we go to this conference this month, I really want to look hard at leak detection. It's pretty expensive, but.
What's the other alternative though? I think that meeting I went to at Big Sky talked about, their public works guy talked about just putting in having digital meters for every house for the most modern, up-to-date reader for all businesses, and that way you can accurately, I guess, detect leaks, right? Am I right on that?
They do have new technology out there. You could even put them under hydrant and that'll let you know if there's a leak in that system, but leak detection, what I learned from it, it's as much an art as it is a science.
So what he's talking about though is like if everybody had one of the brand new radio reads, like in the water report, they said that was one of the recommended uses was start cycling out 20% over a 5-year period. And the reason behind that is if you can meter exactly what's going into each service line through new meters, because the older ones are not accurate, and then you put that against what you're pumping, you will know what your loss is immediately because the numbers at the end of each service line are accurate. Where right now, the numbers are depending on the meters. But at the same time, we couldn't get meters there for a while, so.
We still can't.
Oh.
I have 2 boxes maybe coming this month or next month. After that, you're out. Or any meters.
Yeah.
And they're expensive, aren't they?
Oh.
That's too bad.
Yeah.
Just there.
People won't be able to build houses. They can look old.
But we're still after that last engineering report, we're still losing 50% of our water through leaks. Is that right?
No.
45% loss.
We need to do a drawdown test to actually see what that number is because there was a huge difference in the pump time between this winter and last winter.
I'm really kind of excited to see where the summer leads, but with the amount of lawns coming in at the North 40 lawn, it doesn't matter.
People have gardens, just make a
It's
garden.
gonna blow our, I mean, you put a new lawn in around here, you got the water for a week. What was your bill?
Straight.
What was your bill?
I don't know, $1,200, yeah, it was a lot. It was,
For a month?
yeah.
So that's what new lawns cost. That's a lot of water.
We sure is what I wanted.
$1,200. It was 372,000 gallons.
Yeah.
That was a leak at a residence.
That they didn't know was happening?
No.
They were there, yeah.
We got
Flooded?
The Ennis Cafe, that was even more than that.
And the campground.
So that ended up being a $1,600 bill.
Wow. Then they're responsible, they're liable, right? They're responsible for it.
Yeah, that included sewer bill.
So you take that.
We worked with
Because it wasn't going into the sewer.
because- So they will, Eric usually does an adjustment on the sewer part.
But I am starting to see the trend on the lower part ends with the service lines and the curb stops in general. One not working. Downtown especially. If you're downtown, you have a curb stop. I bet you $100 a moment.
What does that mean? What, I'm stupid.
So the curb stop is the portion from our line to their service line.
That's where I would shut the water off.
Yeah.
Okay.
So where,
Behind business or?
so each individual person or each individual residence business they own from the curb stop from the main to the house. And that's where we shut it off if something goes bad. Or it's under a propane tank and you can't. Well, it's paved.
You know, there are.
And then we have to pay to fix the sidewalk too, right?
Yep.
Yeah. But we can't go and fix that sidewalk right now with the frost level around that area.
Oh, right.
You can see even before that happened, sidewalks, pointing like that.
Yeah.
we have to let that frost level go down before it gets no shade on that side. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, no sun.
No shade. Oh, it's chilly.
Here's what you meant.
right. Any other questions for Eric? He gets to go to training. Him and you get to go.
Hal and I will be gone from the 21st to the 24th.
In Great Falls.
If there's an emergency, yes, I'll come right back. But that's where we get our CCs. And Hal's doing, he's gonna.
His review.
For his test, which will be a couple weeks after that, so.
Perfect.
So if we like asked, is this put on by Rural Water?
Yeah.
So like if we wrote a nice letter saying, hey, here's a news flash for you. Most little towns only have like 1 or 2 operators. Having one convention
Yeah.
where that's the only convention they have each year to get their CEs that they're required to have. But then at the same time, all of us little towns are like, okay, it's the 21st through the 24th. Both of my main operators are gone.
You know, it's not very fun for me.
Do you think it would help if we all like wrote a letter and said, hey, like, I don't know if we all kicked a little bit towards it somehow or what, but could you hold 2 conferences? So like one guy could go to one and one guy could go to the other so that all of us little towns still have an operator and you all still have the opportunity to have training?
It's just, it's a really awesome place for networking.
So yes, your answer is yes. We should write that letter and you should give it to Rural Water.
I actually talked to her the other day about why there's not.
Because we should host.
He said, we don't host it.
Okay.
This is gonna be happening from time to time.
Ginger, start the budget. See what to host. They said there's usually only like 10 to 15.
In May though? No, sorry.
What
When
month
are we?
budget? Can we pull it out? I mean, I think we should be able to find a way to host
Honestly,
20, 30 people in town for a second Rural Water Conference.
How many separate meetings go on?
What's that?
How many separate meetings go on like during it?
Oh, all day long, every day. Yeah.
Right, but there's like 4 different classes going on at all times. Like,
At least 8. So you just pick which one you want to go to, what you need
To know.
what you feel you know.
Their training calendar, what's on that.
Okay.
But there is training throughout the year, but it's generally Foresight. I picked one at Foresight because the day before, but
They send you a calendar. Will you email it to me, the Rural Water training schedule? Okay. Forsyth?
Foresight.
Beautiful town hall building. That's all I know. All right, Susie. Okay. Are we done with Eric? Anybody else?
I was surprised when I see that. I was shocked, but that's Foresight.
So we have an engineering report coming up for the sewer
Yes.
PRS, and that's next month.
I'll have to touch base with Colette to make sure. She's already been on me on what we decided on the water one, so that's part of the work session. I told her I'd get back to her. And she's gonna come down, April, and do just the kind of introduce to you guys what the wastewater is, and then after that, we'll start holding public hearing on the wastewater report.
I guess we'll bring that up. We do have some wood repairs coming up this summer. Old valves. We're gonna be working on 2 cells, and that's it. So any and all uncontrolled stuff's gonna be really important to keep up this summer.
The turtles did us no favor last year. We're eating on our liner.
so, and what did you say?
Are you serious?
The last part of what you just said. It's gonna be important to.
Just to mind what's going down the sewers a lot. You know, with only 1 cell, so right now we have 2 cells at the end and this one is not ready to be dumped.
I can shut it off and discharge on this one. Switch them back and forth, but we're not gonna have that luxury this summer. Both A and B will have to be drained and fixed. It's gonna be a whole deal.
He has to drain those cells to be able to get
To the valve.
to the valves in the room, the liner that needs repaired.
Which is on my conference list, because I will definitely be in line to repair.
And turtles. No can we have sign, no turtles? And I would like a 4-inch fence that says no turtles. Not to discriminate, but
I think we're gonna need mesh.
those little buggers.
You know, in the long run, the taller fence from that
Smart.
would be a great idea.
Just add it to the list.
It's
Well, it's gonna be a lot cheaper than draining a lagoon cell and putting. Ooh. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You gotta get them out.
Dead or alive?
It is.
Whatever.
He gives tours, by the way. No, signing up for tours. But lead service line inventory. When are you gonna do?
Actually,
We're just asking when we want.
met your daughter today on the phone. And she is, I'm gonna get the mailers printed. That'll be going out.
For what, the lead pipe thing?
Yeah.
Good.
So-
I'm like, we can stuff. We all said we'd stuff, so.
Well, I'm gonna take you up on the stuffing. It was an extra $125. I don't want to pay for it.
Yeah.
Stuffing party. And yeah, we'll start with the dog. And P.S. Have you licensed your dog?
Eric, how many so I can make sure we need envelopes?
I'm buying the envelopes stamped.
Okay.
That's around $1,000.
And is that what
But
we're
Colette
wanting?
put in for it for the state eligible money for at least a little bit of the cost.
We did think of that coming in.
Into it.
John's got a website also on this where if you don't want to bring your mailer in, you can send this into that website.
So we're not walking around distributing them to people?
No.
I don't have time.
And then if it gets yucky,
It just goes to utility users, right?
Right.
yes, if you have service
Owners.
owners.
How do you make sure you can do that?
Could ask Trump.
But then you're gonna go across.
We have all the owners in the.
We have our
System.
Black Mountain mailing list.
Oh.
That's where we're gonna go from. We're gonna-
There's not that many.
Yeah.
It is not gonna be a huge stepping job.
I don't
No.
think, no, it won't. Don't think this is gonna be too bad. I just, summer looking the way it's looking. It's gonna be put to the, maybe a winter time finishing job, but
I'll just say, if you need to, you might have to train us up. We'll see how many we get. And then we might have to have like a training, and PS MMIA, we may be working outside of our regular duties day or two and finish up the inventory. You see what I'm saying?
It's not a hard thing, it's just gonna be time consuming.
I don't know the difference between all the pipes. I'm not a plumber. You're gonna have to spend a minute
So the
Yeah.
mailer.
giving me
mailer
crayon.
has really good
the mailer.
pictures
Oh.
of how to test it.
Okay.
This guy is pretty good, I think it's really.
Well put together. All right. Are we all done? Now we're done grilling, Eric. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks for the early start
Yeah, thank
and the
you.
late night.
Yeah. Did you get your lunch?
You know what, I just, I appreciate it, like, when they offer, I appreciate it, I just, that's not my.
I know, but it's their appreciation.
I know. It means a lot. That means more than lunch.
Yes.
stuff. You know,
You're like, but an open bar tab. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. All right. You.
Well, I gave part of it already. The Ennis schools put in for a duplex, on Stephen Street on that land that's to the west of the preschool. And so I had to deny it just for the square footage, so we're gonna have a variance, board of adjustment meeting next Tuesday, and they'll make the decision on it. Sorry, Ginger. I heard it click.
Well, the state, just so you know, there is a way to get that water and sewer without.
On that one? Oh, cool. 3 spec homes, permits have come in from the North 40. Madison Foods is on the agenda for the March 23rd. And we actually, not we, Forrest just redid the staff report. I just saw it today. I was off today. So it will go out to you probably tomorrow, the revised one. We just did the conditional use permits for the tradesmen. I had 1 permit for an addition / garage on Hugel Street. I sent out some address verification letters, just for the North 40. They're having trouble getting some of the packages delivered out there. So I worked with Tommy from the county. I copied his letter and sent some letters out to Northwest Energy, Three Rivers, the post office, FedEx, and UPS. Just try to help those folks out a little bit. I've sent out an RV violation letter to the Sportsman's Lodge for the 2 RVs that are in the back here on Pearl Street. One's been removed. The other one needs to be removed. They're also probably getting a letter from DEQ. They're in violation. An RV has to have 10 acres or more for an RV park. So we've sent to, and approved by the town. They were never there. You can park 1 RV per residential, but not for living quarters. So everybody can have 1 on their property, you know, but they can't live in them. These are hooked up to water and sewer. I did send out the letter to Lindstrom on the landscaping. It just went out this week, so I haven't heard anything back to them. And I also, it seems like almost everybody that is asking for a permit or calling about a permit wants to know if they can do a VRBO or an Airbnb. I kind of had a conversation with some realtors. It seems like a lot of the people that are buying wants to know if we can put a little cottage behind for, you know, our fishermen or whatever. Not everybody, but it seems to be the way to go. I did, on Corey's recommendation, I did pull Twin Bridges off their website and looked at it, and I really think it's something that we should be thinking really serious about capping. I don't know if you know how many of them are out there, but there is a lot.
And on that, the Madison County has contracted Highlight Engineering to put together a Madison County housing assessment report, which is in its draft. The draft should be done by the end of the month, and they identified problems that they think with housing, and one of those on the list on why we feel like most of the towns have identified why they feel like they're having housing issues with short-term rentals. So with that draft out, I think that would be a very good supporting document for those kinds of ordinances.
Can we put that on the agenda for next week? If we have the report by then?
Yeah, the draft, Scott said he'd have the draft. And then with that, I'm also giving them our water per, because they asked for it. So I sat through that meeting Monday.
But if you're, you know, if you have some extra time, you should go to the Twin Bridges. Yeah, and it's really written very well. And I mean, we don't have to do that amount, but I really think it's something, you know, the affordable housing is a big deal, and the lower Ennis is probably our less affordable. And I think most of it's going for those, unfortunately. I don't know. That's just my feelings. have the luxury of driving through alleys all the time and I see these little cabins back there.
But then we gotta do enforcements, because that's my other favorite part. There's only 6 of them in town. I don't know why we're worried. You're required to have a business license if you have you are required to have a business license if you have a short-term rental. And if we're capping it, I'm probably gonna allow those that have a business license to stay before the ones that do not. For the record.
Is that not what Forrest is up working on right now, doing legislation at the state level?
He's on.
Yeah. I get all the updates. Slow learner like Karina. That's what you said you were. He sends
Weekly updates.
Yeah, weekly updates. I mean, I forward them to Nikki. I can certainly try to remember to forward them to whoever else is interested if you'd like, but
That section's kind of closing out, isn't it? Like,
yeah.
we're getting down to like.
He's actually been home. He
finance.
went back today. He's been home for a few days catching up and, but he did go back today. So he said it was gonna get pretty busy again. So that's pretty much it, unless you have some questions.
I have made a mental note that I will say no to every new development.
So the,
Yeah, until we do the law.
Yeah.
you gave me the
no,
ordinance.
it's funny, but not funny, right?
You gave me the ordinance. Did they have a resolution beforehand?
I do not know the answer to that. I mean, we can definitely call there to see. I just pulled it off of their website. That's all I did.
Okay. So before the next meeting, somebody needs to call Twin Bridges. Okay? And ask Christy if they prepared a resolution for their cap on short-term rentals.
I think they have their resolutions on there too. I
It's
just
done.
didn't look.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all done.
That's why I just asked you. You said you didn't know.
Oh, yeah, it's done, I believe.
The
Yeah.
ordinance, it's passed,
Yeah.
right, but were there resolutions prior to the ordinance?
That's what I'm
Is
saying.
what
So
we
you
do.
start ordinance by resolution, where you're like, this is our intent to do this, and these are the facts that back the reasoning why we would do this. So we need the resolution, is what I'm saying. So we can do the resolution in April, and then you can go into the public hearings if we're there.
So,
Oh, yeah.
oh yeah, again.
There was a big room of them all very upset about business licenses too, and you
At
know?
least the only realtor in the room that night. I won't be there in the room that night. I'm just saying there will be more of us.
Yeah.
Is that a question that you feel that? No, I think it's a valid concern and it should be addressed.
Do people ever ask if there's anything in our code, like when they're looking at?
Oh, I mention it because I know I know what you guys have been doing with the business license, so I mentioned that we need to have that. I think it's interesting talking to the property managers, because people are like, there's so many of them, that's oversaturated so much. And, one of the property managers, one interesting perspective that I hadn't thought of was a lot of these VRBOs, if they weren't short-term rentals, they would be vacant.
Good.
Or long-term rental.
Well,
No.
no, these are people who have their summer homes and come here for 1 to 3 months throughout the year. And they capture a little bit of extra income and the times that they're not here. But if they couldn't do that short-term rental, they're not gonna give it up for long-term because they still wanna have the use when they want to have the use. So that was an interesting perspective that I hadn't thought of before.
And then there's still the
Not
stay
right or
and play.
wrong, just a perspective.
And one that I just keep thinking, well, after the lure me in, that we lost a couple more beds too. You know, like there's no more Silvertip, there's no more Lure Me In. If you want to say that our economy is based on tourism, which I would say that's a pretty good chunk of it. If you can't stay and play, then you're not gonna come. So we gotta balance whatever we do. We gotta balance it.
They're all coming for the summer and the owners are in your property in the summer.
Well, parts of this.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of, it's never easy.
The best
Okay.
weekends.
Oh, I had a question on
Whatever. I just had a Susie question.
So are we done with zoning's report?
That was the question. Suzie,
Yes. Just done.
tell us on your zoning report. I thought you said something about fences, but never mind.
About what?
Fencing, but I don't remember. But your hearing is the 14th, right? Zoning?
CBA is the 14th.
Okay.
She's dreaming. It's okay.
It's getting late. We're losing our focus, so go. Clerk.
Okay.
Anyway, I did not get my written out to you. It's been kind of a hectic week in the office. Just a hectic month. But all the normal stuff. And I think Nikki will probably cover it in mayor's, that we got notice of some ARPA funding that we had applied for. Nikki, have you got that?
Yes. Well, you can do it. I got
No, you go
lots.
ahead.
No, you do it.
I didn't write the numbers with me. We did have the audit that started February 20th. I haven't got final documents back from them yet. And Nikki came in and spent quite a bit of time with us, which was great. But that is completed now, and we'll wait for final docs on that. Stuff is filtering in for the budget already. We're getting estimated increases like on our health insurance. So as soon as it is possible for me to get into that, I'm going to start giving some estimated numbers out. Putting together some reports so that you guys we're hoping to get more reports to you early on so that you have time to ask questions. Look at what we do with the budget and where those numbers come from. So otherwise, hopeful of getting somebody hired. I'm tired. I'm getting cranky. We're working on it. I think that's it for me. Any questions or?
Are you still interviewing? What?
No,
We're waiting on
an
that.
offer is out. We're just waiting for an answer.
Oh,
And we'll hear that next week.
Next week?
Yes.
I think, yeah.
For sure. And then we'll know where we're at and go again. Legal, James.
James, you're up.
Okay, thank you. And so the short-term rental situation, I've discussed this in the past. City of Bozeman worked on this issue for about 3 years, and they have a very comprehensive ordinance. I've not looked at the Twin Bridges ordinance, but I definitely would recommend that the commissioners, you all, focus on this issue. It's something that you want to get ahead of the curve on. Short-term rentals could have a very negative impact on your community in many ways. I've heard you guys talking about affordable housing or, employee housing. When people own homes and then turn those homes into a rental business, they're looking to maximize their rental income. They're not going to be looking to have employees, affordable housing. They're looking to maximize their investment return. So it has a way of changing the character of your community. And that's something that you all need to think about, the direction of how you want to see the town grow and how short-term rentals, Airbnbs might impact your community. And remember, basically there's three things that you do as a town. You're looking at safety, health, and general welfare. Those are your basic principles that guide you as a local government. That's what you attempt to do. You provide safety, health, and general welfare. Now, whether that means, providing an adequate water supply, treatment facilities, sewer and septic services, maintaining your roads, snow plowing, right? Patrolling for crimes, enforcing your zoning ordinances, preventing people from being attacked by dogs, for example. We heard a lot about dogs this evening, but it all comes under that general concept of health, safety, general welfare. And you guys need to study how these Airbnbs, VRBOBs, short-term rentals may have an impact on your community. It might be something that you all want to see. Again, you take into consideration all your public comment on that, and then you proceed accordingly. You have a lot of tools available to you. The town of Ennis has self-governing power, so you could pretty much do anything that's not unconstitutional, illegal, against public policy. The town of Ennis has very broad ability to regulate, adopt zoning ordinances, and enforce these types of codes in that fashion. Okay, enough said on that. I want to talk to you real briefly about an issue. It's an important issue. It has to do with public records retention, and access. And I'm the town attorney, and I work on a contract basis. So I also represent other clients in Montana and in New York, where I'm also licensed and practice law. Public records and the ability to access public records is a very, very important concept in Montana. It's a constitutional right. People have a constitutional right to know and participate in local government. If you recall, Dan Parker from the MSU local government extension, he talked a lot about that, public records and the right to know and public access. And I know you have some newer commissioners down there. It might be a good idea to bring Dan Parker back up, or send some people out to the whatever seminars are available for that type of review and learning. In the town of Ennis, it's very important that you maintain your public records and that the records be accessible to not only the public, if they should request them, but to staff as well. So if anyone is working from home, I would just encourage that if you need to review files, make
No. James, you cut out again. James,
We can't hear you.
we can't hear you. Nothing. Can't hear you.
He's talking about working from home. Obviously, we know who that is, right?
James, there's no audio on your part. James, we cannot hear you. Nothing. No. Gotcha. He's like, what are you doing?
James? Can you hear me?
Everyone cover your ears.